Hare Krishna. Welcome to another evening in the lives of the Vaisnava Acaryas. My name is Chaturatma Das. I'm your host. We want to thank all of you for joining us. We had a little confusion with the chat room there, but it looks like everything's straightened out and running smooth. We've quite a few members in the chat room this evening. Very nice to see you all. Bhakta Patrick, Radha Krishna Devi Dasi, so many devotees that are regularly listening to these pastimes of all the great associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to, of course, as I like to thank our host Krishna.com for allowing us to come here and broadcast these stories about the acharyas of our Hare Krishna movement. The devotees here at Krishna.com are working very hard to bring you a wide range of different Krishna conscious programs, opportunities to go online and read Prabhupada's books, to listen to kirtans and lectures from all over the world, to purchase things that will help facilitate your devotional activities at home. So, we're very grateful that they've given us this opportunity, and if you would like to help support any of the work they're doing, Krishna.com/donate, you can go and make whatever offering you'd like to continue the work that these devotees are doing here. So, if somebody in the chat room could just give me a little heads up as to how the light and sound and picture and everything, make sure that everything's all right before we get started here. We do try to keep everything without any disturbances. Have that opportunity here. So okay, good. It looks like everything's fine. Everybody's happy. All right. So want to take a little bit different approach this evening. As we understand, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, makes his appearance into this world, he doesn't come by himself. He doesn't have his pastimes alone. Prabhupada was fond of saying Krishna is never alone. I mean, even when Krishna would abandon the gopis and Radharani, he's in the forest. There are so many forest creatures. There are the trees, the creepers. And in the spiritual world, all of these personalities are fully spiritually cognizant. So Krishna is never alone. So he's always accompanied by his devotees. And the devotees, actually, when Krishna comes to this world to make his appearance, to enact his pastimes, usually the devotees appear before him. He sends his associates. He sends his entourage. Prabhupada's given the example many times, which is so true, that when a great personality goes somewhere, an ambassador or a king or a president, they send ahead of them the advance party, if you will. Actually, I remember when I was traveling on Padayatra in India, we had the Padayatra party and we had the advance party, and these were the devotees that would go ahead, village to village, meet with the village leaders and organizers and coordinate where the devotees would be able to stay and what type of facilities were there, how cooking could be arranged. We would, of course, do all our own cooking, but everything like that was all set up. So in this way, the advance party made arrangements so that when the kirtan party came out, everything was at their leisure. Everything was comfortably arranged for them. In the same way, we see that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, makes his appearance into this world, he doesn't just kind of come and, all right, well, let's figure it out. All of his associates go ahead of him, most of them, ahead of him, and arrange the pastime place for the Lord. These associates are taking up different roles: juniors, seniors, parents, teachers, friends, whatever the case may be, according to their particular relationship. So in this way, Krishna arranges for a good time. If you want to have a party, you don't invite the people you don't like over, you invite all your buddies. So Krishna brings all of his buddies with him to the world when he enacts his various pastimes. Now, these next couple of weeks, actually these next 5 or 6 weeks, as we prepare for Gaur Purnima, which is at the end of February, as we prepare for Gaur Purnima, over the next few weeks, and particularly over the next 10 days, there is a large number, many devotees that make their appearances and their disappearances, and they're preparing the scene. among those, I'm just going to go through these. This coming Wednesday, Wednesday the 20th, we have the appearance of Srimati Vishnu Priya, the wife of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, one of his most dear, advanced, highly rasik devotees, Raghunandana Thakur, the young boy, as you remember, that made the deity eat his lunch, Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the most important associates of Mahaprabhu, and one of the greatest emblems of renunciation. And then on Friday, the 22nd, we have the appearance of Advaita Acarya, Mahavishnu himself. Then the following Thursday, the 28th, is the appearance day of Sri Nityananda Ram, the supreme brother of the personality of Godhead. Actually, Prabhupada said there's no difference between the two of them. One is white, one is blue. And in Gaura Lila, they're both golden. And then following that, on Thursday, then Friday, the following day, the 29th, is the appearance of Narottam Das, disappearance of Narottam Das, Narottam Das Thakur's celebration. And then the Wednesday after that, we have Purushottam Das Thakur on the 3rd of February. And then on the 10th of February is Ishwar Puri, the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And on the 25th of February, Madhavendu Puri, the spiritual master of Ishwar Puri. And then on the 28th of February, we have Gaur Purnima, the most glorious and auspicious activities, festivities, excitement. So many things go on. I know here in Alachua we're planning so much, as all of you are there in your home temple. So, these great personalities have so much to offer. Now, we've spoken about every one of the individuals on that list once, twice, thrice, and intertwine them with the different pastimes, because here again, they're all the associates of the Lord, so all their activities include each other. It's, excuse me. We've spoken about them so many times, and the fact is we could go on speaking about them forever. Actually, if I was graced with the 1,000 mouths of Lord Anantasesh, I would still not be able to reach the end of the glories of all these devotees. There's so many wonderful pastimes. And many times we're finding more and more pastimes as more and more literatures from the Chaitanya era get translated. So, in these group of devotees, there are three main personalities: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Acarya. These are the three prominent members of the Gaura Lila pastimes, the three prominent members of the Panchatattva, and the three senior members of spearheading the Lord's pastimes. Of course, Advaita Acarya is the reason for the Lord to have come by his calling on him, due to his desperation at seeing the fallen condition of the Kali Yuga residents and realizing no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And how did he call? By worshipping Shalagram Shila. By the worship of Shalagram Shila, and fervently, Prabhupada says, offering prayers. So, of these three personalities, Advaita Acarya and Nityananda Prabhu are the prominent key players in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the main supporters, his closest associates. So much so are they his important associates that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, at the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, devotes an entire chapter to each of them, just to speak about their tattva, the truth of their appearance, the truth of their teachings, their activities, their personalities, as we build up to all their pastimes of the Lord throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, with all these upcoming festival days, particularly Advaita Acarya this week and the following week Nityananda, I wanted to actually read from some of these pastimes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that describe the activities of Advaita Acarya and Nityananda Prabhu. There's there's a certain type of sweetness, a certain type of friendship between very close friends that really has a wonderful mood to it, and that few outside of that are able to understand or appreciate unless they're given that opportunity. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given us that opportunity to be able to enter into what this mood was like amongst these devotees. Excuse me one second. I knew I was saying that for a reason. This guy's up there. All right, sorry about that. I don't know about all of you, wherever you are. I mean, I know Radha Krishna Devi Dasi's up there in the cold northern tundra. I don't know where Manjesh or Bhakta Patrick or Karuna Shakti are, but here in Alachua it's starting to get cold again. It warmed up for 3 or 4 days, and it's cooling off again tonight. So a little bit of hot tea and some warm pastimes will get us through the evening. So we want to start with a wonderful prayer that was offered by Advaita Acarya when he met Lord Nityananda. Now, the interesting thing is, Advaita Acarya is senior to Nityananda and to Lord Gauranga, but his seniority in age caused him a lot of anxiety, because as a result of that, Lord Chaitanya would always honor him. But he didn't want that honor. He wanted to be, treated less than honorably by Lord Chaitanya. Of course, to this point, we know the famous story where he taught Mayavadi philosophy, and the Lord came and chastised him very strongly with a bamboo stick. And Advaita Acarya was very happy about this. So, although he's senior, and in the structure of the Panchatattva, we typically see Lord Chaitanya at the top, and in the second position, Lord Nityananda, and in the third position, Advaita Acarya. But in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, beginning of the Adi Lila, the instructions given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is that the three of them are equal. Especially, many times he refers to Nityananda as Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Advaita Mahaprabhu. So these three Prabhus, he says, he refers to them like this, giving them equality. But for the sake of some of these pastimes, we do see that there is a external hierarchy of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Acarya. So when Advaita Acarya met Lord Nityananda for the first time, he offered this very wonderful prayer. It says here that when Advaita Acarya saw, this is from the Nityananda Charitamrita by Vrindavan Das Thakur. When Advaita Acarya saw the beautiful face of Lord Nityananda, his happiness knew no bounds. He shouted loudly and offered him obeisances. He repeatedly circled and embraced Nityananda Prabhu, drenching his body with tears of ecstatic love. Seeing each other intoxicated, both of them, they had indescribable feelings for one another. They rolled on the ground while holding on to each other, trying to touch each other's feet. Both of them roared like lions, and their madness could not be controlled. Sometimes maybe some of you have experienced this, or even maybe engaged in this activity. A longtime friend that you're very close to, that you haven't seen for a while, you try and touch each other's feet, and then it becomes a jumping match to get away from the other one's hands, and then pretty soon it's a wrestling match, and before you know it, all over on the floor, rolling around in the dust like this. So this is what Nityananda and Advaita have set this example for us. So once in a while, these activities are all right. So Vrindavan Das Thakur continues with this description. After a while, Lord Nityananda became calm and sat down in a grave mood. Then the magnanimous Advaita Acarya folded his hands and happily offered prayers to Nityananda. This is a very important point. He happily offered these prayers. With a great heart of satisfaction, a great happiness and pleasure in the heart, one should offer prayers to the Lord. So he says, your name is Nityananda, and indeed you are Nityananda, eternal bliss. You are the form of Sri Chaitanya's transcendental qualities. You deliver all the living beings and protect the religious principles at the time of annihilation. You descend to give Chaitanya Prema Bhakti. Indeed, you are the full potency of Lord Chaitanya. You teach supreme knowledge to the devotees who are headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Narada. Everyone gets Vishnu Bhakti from you, but you are untouched by pride in doing so. You deliver the fallen souls without seeing their faults. Only the very pious can know who you are. You are the only enjoyer of sacrifices. Simply remembering you destroys the bondage of ignorance at once. Just as a side note, this means simply by remembering Lord Nityananda, all the ignorance in our mind will be destroyed. Advaita Acarya continues, if you do not manifest yourself, then who will understand you? You are the most blissful, supreme Lord, completely free of anger. You are the thousand-headed Ananta who holds the universes on his heads. You are Sri Lakshman Chandra, the destroyer of the Rakshasa dynasty. You are Haladar, the son of a cowherd. You descended to save the fallen, wretched, foolish, and low-class people. By your mercy, everyone easily achieves devotional service that is aspired for by great yogis and mystic sages. So, these kind of prayers that were offered by Advaita Acarya kind of give us a mood, an understanding of the mood that he had towards Lord Nityananda. we have from the Chaitanya Charitamrita then Madhya Lila, chapter 3, from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, presented for our benefit by Srila Prabhupada, with his purports, which we're going to delve into a bit here because there's some very wonderful points made. This is the amazing thing about the activities of the Lord. One of the Lord's abilities is to achieve many things by one action. He's very clever in that way. And so to do so, he tries to capture the mind of the living entity by giving them many different things to understand. So in this pastime that we're going to describe of Advaita Acarya hosting Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda at his home, many different points will be described in the pastimes, and Srila Prabhupada will elucidate some of these in his purports, and we'll go down that road also. So we're going to begin here. This is from the Madhya Lila, chapter 3, chapter entitled Lord Chaitanya at the Home of Advaita Acarya. Excuse me. Bhakti and Carol says it's 60 degrees where she is. Maybe she's in Los Angeles or something. All right. Here we go. Now, what's happened here? Let's just bring the story up to speed. Lord Chaitanya has been traveling in Bengal, and Nityananda has convinced some cowherd boys to tell Lord Chaitanya to go this direction, down this path, and that Vrindavan is that way. And anyway, Lord Chaitanya ends up in the Ganges River taking his bath, thinking he's in Vrindavan in the Jamuna, and then he sees Advaita Acarya, and Advaita Acarya, oh, Advaita Acarya, you're here in Vrindavan, would you come to Vrindavan? And Advaita Acarya says, no, my lord, you're in Bengal, this is the Ganga River. No, Nityananda has, no, so Lord Chaitanya becomes a little angry that Nityananda, superficially, that Nityananda has tricked him. And Advaita Acarya, with his supreme intelligence, pacifies the Lord by saying, my dear Lord, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. But, as a matter of fact, the place where you're bathing is where the Jamuna and the Ganga join together. So, actually you have bathed in the Jamuna. So no. But, he says, I see that from bathing now you've become wet. Your underwear, your outer garment is wet. Why don't you come to my house? You can change, put on some fresh cloth, and I can serve you prasad. So, this is where we pick up the story. Advaita Acarya said, my dear Lord, you have been fasting continuously for 3 days in your ecstasy of love of Krishna. I therefore invite you to my home, where you can kindly take your alms. Come with me to my residence. This is how to treat a mendicant. You see a qualified mendicant, you invite them to your home, let them beg, and then give them what they desire. Advaita Prabhu continued, "At my home I have just cooked 1 palmful of rice. The vegetables, they're always very simple. There is no luxurious cooking, simply a little liquid vegetable and some spinach." So now Advaita Acarya kind of gives a heads up that you're coming as my guest, but please note, I don't have much there, just a little something, but I want to share it with you. So, of course, how is this possible? Advaita Acarya is Mahavishnu, he owns everything. So we will see. Saying this, Advaita Acarya took the Lord into the boat and brought him to his residence. There, Advaita Acarya washed the feet of the Lord and was consequently very happy within. How to properly receive a guest, washing their feet. All the vegetables were first cooked by the wife of Advaita Acarya. Then Srila Advaita Acarya personally offered everything to Lord Vishnu. Now, this is a nice purport here that Prabhupada mentions, and I'm going to read this because I would imagine the majority of our listeners are in this category. And I know majority of our residents here in Alachua are. Prabhupada mentions, this is the ideal householder's life. The husband and wife live together. The husband works very hard to secure the paraphernalia for worshipping Lord Vishnu. The wife at home cooks a variety of foodstuffs for Lord Vishnu, and the husband offers it to the deity. After that, arti is performed, and the prasad is distributed amongst the family members and the guests. According to the Vedic principles, there must always be a guest in the householder's home. Srila Prabhupada mentions right here, in my childhood, I've actually seen my father receive not less than 4 guests every day. And in those days, my father's income was not very great. So he alludes to the point, as Advaita Acarya alluded to Lord Chaitanya, my father wasn't very rich, but he shared it with the guests. Nonetheless, there was no difficulty in offering prasad to at least 4 guests on a daily basis. According to the Vedic principles, a householder before taking lunch should invite others to come and accept their food. So, this is a point. Thus, the householder's life is also a kind of austerity. Because of this, the householder's life is called the Grihastha ashram. Prabhupada significantly notes here the difference between Grihamedi and Grihastha. One who is striving to satisfy their senses and one who is living a religious, pious life. So this is the example that Prabhupada encourages us to do, and the example we see for ourselves in Advaita Acarya. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami continues. All the prepared foods were divided into 3 equal parts. One part was arranged on a metal plate for offering to Lord Krishna. Of the 3 divisions, one was on a metal plate, and the other 2 were arranged on plantain leaves. These leaves were not bifurcated, for they were taken from a banana tree that held at least 32 bunches of bananas. Special, particular qualification there. The 2 plates were filled very nicely with the kinds of foods which will be described below. So those of you in our chat room, or those of you in our listening audience who are cooks, you may want to get out your pen and pencil, because these are the ingredients for a really good feast. The cooked rice was stacked of very fine grains. In the middle was yellow butter, clarified from the milk of cows, ghee. Surrounding the stack of rice were pots made from the skins of banana trees. And in these pots were varieties of vegetables and mung dal. Among the different varieties of cooked vegetables were potalas, squash, manakachu, and a salad made from pieces of ginger and various types of spinach. There was also shukta, bitter melon mixed with a variety of vegetables, that defied the taste of nectar. Now, I don't know how many of you listening have eaten bitter melon, shukta. You generally don't think of it as tasting like nectar. But if you have had bitter melon cooked by a proper cook who knows how to make it, it is absolutely, well, it defies the taste of nectar. There were 5 types of bitter and pungent shuktas. Among the various vegetables were newly grown leaves of nimba trees fried with eggplant. The fruit, known as putala, was fried with pulabuddy. See if it gives a definition for pulabuddy. Pulabuddy is a type of dal. So a type of dal preparation that is mashed and then dried in the sun. There was also a preparation known as kushmanda manachaki. Kushmanda manachaki is a type of squash preparation. Prabhupada puts in the purport here, because you can imagine that he's thinking of how we must be thinking. We request our editors of cookbooks to add all of these nice preparations. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami continues. The preparation made with coconut milk mixed with curd and rock candy was very sweet. There was a curry made of banana flowers and squash boiled in milk, all in great quantity. There were small cakes in sweet and sour sauces and 5 or 6 kinds of sour preparations. All the vegetables were made so that everyone present could take prasad. Now this can mean 2 things. A, that there was sufficient quantity, and B, that they were tasty enough no one would taste it and go, oh, I'll pass on that. There were cakes that were soft and made of mung dal. There were soft cakes made from ripe bananas and soft cakes made from urd dal. There were various kinds of sweetmeats and condensed milk mixed with rice cakes and a coconut preparation and every kind of cake desirable. All the vegetables were served in pots made of banana leaves. These pots were very strong and big and did not tilt or totter. Sometimes you know how it is, you're in India and you get a clay cup and that clay cup shakes, and as soon as somebody pours some liquid in, it spills. So the preparations were put in pots that did not tilt and totter. Every detail is properly taken care of by Advaita Acarya. All around the 3 eating places were 100 pots filled with various types of vegetables. Along with the various vegetables was sweet rice mixed with ghee. This was kept in new earthen pots. Earthen pots filled with highly condensed milk were placed in 3 places. Besides these preparations, there was chipped rice made with milk and mixed with bananas, and white squash boiled in milk. Indeed, it is not possible to describe all the preparations made here. Now, you know, it's interesting because it was only, 8 or 10, 12 verses ago that Advaita Acarya said, I just cooked a little palmful of rice. The vegetables, they're very, very simple. We don't have very much, so you come and we'll try to arrange something. We can see that Advaita Acarya has a sense of humor. So he's describing this incredible feast here. In 2 places, Krishnadas Kaviraj continues, there were earthen pots filled with another preparation made with yogurt. There was sandesh and bananas. I am unable to describe all of it. Upon the stack of boiled rice and all the vegetables were flowers from the tulsi tree. There were also pots filled with scented rose water. There were 3 sitting places with soft cloths for place. Thus Lord Krishna was offered all the foodstuffs, and the Lord took it very pleasantly. So Prabhupada mentions, the wife cooks nicely, the husband offers it, the Lord is satisfied. It is a system after offering food to perform Bhoga Arti. Advaita Acarya asked the 2 brothers, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, to come and see the Arti of Lord Vishnu. The 2 lords and all the others present went to the Arti ceremony. After the Arti was performed for the deities in the temple, Lord Krishna was asked to lie down and rest. Advaita Acarya then came out to submit something to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, wife has cooked very nice foodstuffs. The Lord has offered the foodstuffs. She is now preparing the food for the guest. He is offering the Bhoga Arti to the Lord. And now the proposal is put forward to the guest. Sri Advaita Prabhu said, "My dear lords, kindly enter this room." The two brothers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, then came forward to take prasad. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu went to accept the prasad, they both called Mukunda and Haridas, "You come with us, Mukunda, Haridas, come, take prasad with us." However, Mukunda and Haridas both folded their hands and spoke as follows. When Mukunda was called, he submitted, "My dear Prabhus, I have something to do which is not yet finished. Later I will take prasadam, so you two please now sit down and eat." Advaita Acharya wanted to feed Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda themselves. Thus we see there were 3 plates, one for Lord Vishnu and one for the two lords. But the two lords wanted to bring their friends in for some pastimes. But the friends could understand, no, I have something else to do. Then, of course, Haridas Thakur, the humility of Haridas Thakur. "I am the most sinful and lowest among men. Later I shall take a palmful of prasad while waiting outside." Advaita Acharya then took Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya within the room, and the Lord saw the arrangement for the prasad. Lord Chaitanya was very, very pleased. Now just imagine, Advaita Acharya, his wife has made wonderful prasadam. He's offered it very nicely, and it mentions, Krishnadas Kaviraj says that Lord Vishnu was very happy to accept his prasadam. So he satisfied Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Chaitanya comes in and sees the arrangement, and Lord Chaitanya is equally satisfied. Advaita Acharya's got a double header going here. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of all the methods employed in cooking and offering food to Krishna. Indeed, he was so pleased that he said, "Frankly, I will personally take the lotus feet of anyone who can offer Krishna such nice food and place those feet on my head, birth after birth." Amazing. Now, no devotee wants the Lord to have their feet on the Lord's head, but the Lord is so satisfied by the service, he's willing to do that. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the room, he saw 3 divisions of food, and he knew that all of these were meant for Lord Krishna. However, he did not understand the intentions of Advaita Acharya. The Lord figured there's 3 nice plates for the Lord to eat from. All 3 will be for him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Let us sit down at these 3 plates, and we will now take prasad that it has been offered." However, Advaita Acharya said, "I will distribute the prasad, my Lord." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought that all 3 servings were meant for distribution. Therefore, he asked of the other 2 banana leaves, saying, "Let us have a very little quantity of this vegetable and rice." So he assumed that this was for distribution, so he wanted a new plate, and he would just take a little something to eat. Advaita Acharya said, "Just sit down here on these seats." And he took the hands of the Lord's and set them down. So affectionate is his enticement as a host. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "It is not proper for a sannyasi to eat such a variety of foodstuffs. How can one control the senses if he does not control his eating?" When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept the food that had been served, Advaita Acharya said very frankly, "Please, give up your concealment. I know who you are, and I know the confidential meaning of your accepting the sannyas order." Advaita Acharya thus suggested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should sit down and eat and give up juggling words. The Lord replied, "I certainly cannot eat so much food." Advaita Acharya then requested the Lord to simply accept the prasadam without any pretense. "I have cooked, so please now you sit down and eat." If he could not eat it all, the balance will be left on the plate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "If I am not able to eat so much food, it is not my duty as a sannyasi to leave remnants." So in this way, Advaita Acharya is having this very wonderful exchange with the Lord, encouraging him, coming and sitting like this. In this connection, Advaita Acarya then said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about eating in Jagannath Puri, Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are identical. Advaita Acarya pointed out that in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Lord Jagannath, ate 54 times a day, and each time he ate many hundreds of pots of food. Advaita Acarya said, the amount of food that 3 people can eat does not even constitute a morsel of food for you. In proportion to that, these edibles are not even 5 portions of food for you. So in this way, Advaita Acarya encouraged him, please, you've come to my home, don't juggle words anymore. Just sit down and eat and do not talk. So as the host, he has taken a little bit of a firm hand. No, sit down and eat. So in this way, Advaita Acarya supplied water to the 2 lords so that they could wash their hands. They then sat down and smilingly they began to eat prasada. Now, here's where the fun begins, because we will see that the nature of the relationship between Nityananda and Advaita Acarya is quite, how does Prabhupada describe that? Like hot sugarcane juice. So sweet you can't stop drinking, but so hot it burns the mouth. But so sweet you can't stop drinking. So, Nityananda says, I have undergone fasting for 3 days continuously. Today, I had hoped to break my fast. So, right off the bat, he insults Advaita Acarya. Krishnadas Kaviraj points out that although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking the quantity of food was enormous, Nityananda, on the contrary, thought it not even to be a morsel. He had been fasting for 3 days and had greatly hoped to break his fast on that day. Indeed, he then said, although I was invited to eat by Advaita Acarya, I see that today is also going to be a fast day. Such a small quantity of foodstuffs will not even fill half my belly. Advaita Acarya replied, my dear sir, you are a mendicant traveling on pilgrimage. Sometimes you eat fruits and roots, and sometimes you simply go on fasting continually. Then Advaita Acarya pours out the humility, if you will. He says, I am simply a poor brahmana, and you have come to my home. Please be satisfied with whatever little foodstuffs you have received from me and give up your greedy mentality. So on one hand, he very, very sweetly says, I've offered you what little bit I have. What little bit? We just read the description. Hundreds of pots of vegetables, 5 kinds of this, 6 kinds of that, 9 kinds of that. He says to him, he said, it's a humble offering. And besides, you're just being greedy. So the poking of fun back and forth begins. Lord Nityananda replies, whatever I may be, you have invited me. Therefore, you must supply as much as I want to eat. So in this way, Nityananda fires right back. Then Advaita Acarya says, after hearing the statement of Nityananda, he took the opportunity presented by the joking words between them and spoke as follows. Advaita Acarya said, you are a reject Paramahamsa, and you have accepted the renounced order of life just to fill up your belly. I can understand that your business is to give trouble to the brahmanas. Now, Srila Prabhupada makes a very strong point in the purport to this verse about the difference between a Smarta Brahmana and a Vaishnava Goswami, and how one should not become a sannyasi, a renunciate, a mendicant, simply for the purpose of going about begging, as so many times we see is the case. One has to have actual spiritual knowledge to disseminate, not simply to put on some saffron and go and beg. Advaita Acarya then accused Nityananda Prabhu by saying, you can eat 10 or 20 manas of rice. I am a poor brahmana. How will I get so much rice to feed you? Now, Prabhupada points out that a mana of rice is 4 kilos. So 20 manas of rice would be, for 80 kilos. 80 kilos would be about 160 pounds. So he's accusing Nityananda of being able to eat 160 pounds of rice in one shot. Quite an appetite. Whatever you have, though it be a palmful of rice, please eat it and get up. Don't show your madness and strewn the remnants of food here and there. He's alluding to some pastime shared in the Chaitanya Bhagavat of Lord Nityananda throwing rice about in his ecstasies of devotional service. The whole another different pastime. In this way, Lord Nityananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate and talked and joked with Advaita Acharya. After eating half of each vegetable preparation given to him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu abandoned it and went on to the next. As soon as that half was finished, Advaita Acharya filled it up again. Now, I'm sure we've all had this circumstance of being in the home of some nice Indian host, and as we finish a little something, they come around and put more. Oh, no, please. No, you must take like that. So this is coming from Advaita Acharya. How can we argue with it? So it says that Lord Chaitanya was trying to be a controlled sannyasi, just eating a half of whatever he was taking. And as soon as he would finish that half, Advaita Acharya would fill it right back up. In this way, as the Lord finished half a preparation, Advaita Acharya would again fill it up. After filling a pot with vegetable, Advaita Acharya requested, No, please eat more. This is still full. You haven't eaten anything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, How can I go on eating more and more? Advaita Acharya said, Please do not give up whatever I have given you. Now whatever I am giving, you may eat half and leave half. So Lord Chaitanya's already eaten half. Advaita Acharya has filled it up, and Lord Chaitanya complains. He says, Well, I just gave you this, so just eat half of that. And then as soon as he eats half of that, he would fill it up again. These are such sweet pastimes between three very close, intimate friends. Of course, it's the personality of Godhead in his various forms. But we see these types of exchanges are there. In this way, by submitting various humble requests, Advaita Acharya made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda eat prasad. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fulfilled the desires, all the desires of Advaita Acharya. Yet again, Nityananda began to joke. My belly is not half filled up yet. Please take away your foodstuffs. I have not even eaten the least of it. After saying this, Nityananda then took a handful of rice and threw it on the floor in front of him, as if he were angry. So he complains, You haven't fed me anything. Just take all this away. And he threw a handful of rice on the floor. When 2 or 4 pieces of that thrown rice touched his body, Advaita Acharya began to dance in various ways with the rice still stuck to his body. You could just see the scene, Advaita Acharya dancing wildly around the room with the rice from Lord Nityananda stuck on him. When the rice thrown by Lord Nityananda touched his body, Advaita Acharya thought himself to be purified by the touch of remnants thrown by the Paramahamsa Nityananda. Therefore he began dancing. This is the symptom of one feeling bliss, is one begins to dance in ecstasy. So upon getting the touch of the remnants of foodstuffs from the hand of Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya showed how one behaves when they get this type of bliss. Advaita Acharya then jokingly said, My dear Lord Nityananda, I invited you, and indeed I have now received the results of inviting you, indicating you've thrown rice on me. You have no fixed caste, no dynasty, and by nature you are a madman. Now, the Bengali words Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the Bengali words here indicate that Lord Nityananda was situated on the highest Paramahamsa platform, thus indicating his being a madman. To make me a madman like you yourself, you have thrown your remnants of food on me. You do not even fear the fact that I am a Brahmana, and you are just a Avaduta. So in this way, he begins to also point out that I am from a Smarta Brahmana caste, and you are otherwise. But yet, despite these, Advaita Acharya still manifests the ecstasy. Nityananda replied, "These are the remnants of food left by Lord Krishna. If you take them to be ordinary remnants, you will commit a great offense. If you invite at least 100 sannyasis into your home and feed them sumptuously, then your offense will be nullified." Advaita Acharya then replies, after being told that now you've offended Prasad and the only way to get nullified from this is to invite 100 sannyasis and feed them. Advaita Acharya replies back to Lord Nityananda, "I shall never again invite another sannyasi, for it is a sannyasi, namely you, that has spoiled my Brahminical Smriti regulations." After saying this, the two lords laughed. Advaita Acharya then made Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to wash their hands and mouths, and then he took them to a nice bed and let them lie down and take rest. Sri Advaita Acharya fed them cloves and cardamom mixed with tulsi flowers. Thus they had a nice flavor in their mouths. Sri Advaita Acharya then smeared their body with sandalwood pulp and placed a fragrant flower garland upon their chests. When the Lord lay down on his bed, Advaita Acharya then wanted to massage his feet, but the Lord was very hesitant and spoke to Advaita in this way. "Advaita Acharya, you have made me dance in various ways this afternoon. Now give up this practice and go and take prasadam with Mukunda and Haridas." Thereupon Advaita Acharya went and took prasadam with Mukunda and Haridas, and they wholeheartedly ate as much as they desired. So we see this very, very sweet pastime of Advaita Acharya hosting the two lords, and the exchanges between Advaita and Nityananda, and the great humor and sarcasm, yet wonderful lessons that are imparted by the exchange of these two highly advanced, highly elevated associates of the Lord, who externally appear to be just regular devotees. Not regular by any means, but devotees of that time. But through the graces of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Prabhupada, we know the divine nature and the divine position of Nityananda and Advaita Acharya. There's another section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Excuse me one moment, I just knocked over my glass of water. All right. There we go. There's another section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that gives a wonderful description of similar types of pastimes between Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda. And this is in Jagannath Puri during the Rath Yatra time. It's called Madhya Lila chapter 14, and the chapter is entitled "The Performance of the Vrindavan Pastimes." As all of you must know, the Rath Yatra activities have an external and internal meaning, and the internal meaning has to do with the Lord wanting to experience the Vrindavan Lila again. So the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to manifest that type of enjoying mood and enjoying pastimes with his devotees that were there. So there are many gardens at the Gundisha temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees used to perform the pastimes of Vrindavan in each of these gardens. In the lake named Indradumna, he sported in the water with his associates. The Lord personally splashed all the devotees with water, and the devotees surrounded him on all sides and also splashed the Lord. While in the water, they sometimes formed a circle and sometimes many circles. And while in the water, they would play cymbals and imitate the croaking of frogs. Sometimes the devotees would pair off to fight with each other in the water. One would emerge victorious and the other defeated. And the Lord would watch all this with great fun and satisfaction. The first sporting took place between, you can guess, Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, who threw water upon each other. Advaita Acarya was defeated, and he later began to rebuke Nityananda, calling him bad names. Now, this is very interesting here. We see that just like children, Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to describe that just like children, they lost all their gravity and behaved in these games. Here again, Advaita and Nityananda very freely frolicking with each other and throwing water back and forth and getting out of hand. And we've all had this opportunity of playing water games with our friends. And then the loser would call the other one different types of names. Now, of course, the Chaitanya Charitamrita uses the description bad names. Let me see what the bad names, but not in the sense that we may be familiar with in the degraded Kali Yuga culture that we live in, but as was previously used, reject Paramahamsa and Avaduta of the lowest class, things of this nature. So here again we see that these pastimes are there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acarya, very happily enjoying these activities with each other and in the company of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is an opportunity for us this time of year, as it is in the other festival, main season of Janmashtami, to try and absorb ourselves as much as possible in remembering these pastimes of the Lord's. We have a great opportunity to meet with devotees and discuss these pastimes. It's very common that when we meet with other devotees, sometimes the conversation may not always be of the highest order. But let us all take an opportunity over these next few weeks as we come across the celebrations of these different personalities: Srimati Vishnu Priya, Pundarik Vidhanidhi, Raghunandana Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami, Advaita Acarya, Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Narottam Das Thakur, Purushottam Das Thakur, Ishwar Puri, Madhavendra Puri, and ultimately concluding with the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are all associates of the Lord, some coming after the Lord to continue on his mission, such as Narottam, some appearing before the Lord to establish the arena for his mission. All of them are greatly wonderful devotees, and we should take some opportunity as much as possible to read about these personalities, to share their pastimes with the devotees we come in contact, and relish these and really prepare our consciousness for the upcoming Gaur Punim festival. So we're going to conclude there this evening. This is just some of the wonderfully entertaining and enlightening pastimes of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda and Advaita Acarya. We want to thank you very much. If anyone has any questions in the chat room, would like to ask anything, we open that up in that format for you now. We encourage you that there is these days a wide range of literatures available on Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Of course, the preeminent literature is the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, given to us by Srila Prabhupada, translated from the writing of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And in this way we can also see that there are many other opportunities to read different books. Chaitanya Mangala, Vrindavan Das Thakur's Nityananda Charitamrita, many different Chaitanya literatures that are available for us to read. Lochan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala, and this way try and increase as much as possible our opportunities to hear and chant about the pastimes of the Lord. So we're going to remind everyone that our new format is every other week here at Krishna.com. Monday nights, every other Monday night. So we're here this Monday night. Next Monday night, I have a special treat I've been working on that we're going to, well, anyway, I'll just leave you with that and let you all be excited to tune back in. And we'll thank you once again for joining us in the lives of the Vaishnava Acharyas. I'm your host, Chaturatma Das. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Hare Krishna.